the Soulpreneur Prosperity Academy. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much, Anne Marie.
Can you start by telling us a bit who you are and how you got where you are now?
Absolutely. So, the how I got where I am right now is I had a background in law and legal and systems and investigations and research. I'll say prior to my spiritual awakening, right? And then as we begin to realize that there's something else out there that we will align with, that we resonate with. Um, We know that we go through dark nights of the soul, the challenges of discovering who we are, that inner reflection, the self-discovery, the expansion, raising in vibration. I can't really summarize the spiritual, the beginning of that experience in a day or in a moment, right? But we know that we all come out at the other side of it like shining almost, right? And so that journey in itself has led me to where I'm at right now because through that past journey of having my own business and learning about energy and our spiritual nature and who we truly are, I created the Soulpreneur Prosperity Academy in order to teach others about marketing and business and how to tune into the intuition, how to look to our guidance, and how really we're all living from the inside out, right? So, society has taught us, the matrix has taught us that everything is outside of us, and then we just kind of deal with life as it, comes. But when we realize that everything outside of us is a reflection of our inner world, we can begin to master our own energy and master our own reality and really step into our power. And by doing that, so many things happen like our life's work is activated, our highest good, our greatest expansion. It's like learning to fly, really. And so I spent probably around 12 years in the legal field, um, some in corporate, some not beforehand. So one of the things that I love to teach people is like everything that we've learned up to this point can help us in what our life's work is. And in fact, we've gone through that schooling and those experiences in order to apply what we can into, stepping into the soulpreneur journey, as I call it, because it really is something that comes from the inside and it's born through us. So that's what I teach. And a little bit of background about me. Other than that, we have, aside from the Soulpreneur Prosperity Academy, we have a couple martial arts schools that are brick and mortar. We have other online businesses. We have multiple streams of income. And it's all fun. Some of these things that I do are hobbies that we actually make money off of. Other things that we do are challenging, which helps us grow, combinations thereof. And really, it's about, stepping into a life that not only we're proud of, but that we enjoy, that's helping us grow and expand. And also, it's fun, right? We almost begin to master the game of life and beat the game of life when we step into prosperity, which is not just money, right? It's well being, it's everything that comes along with thriving in life.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned fun because I feel like it's something that sometimes we forget about. Like we need to have fun.
Yeah, yeah, we
And I forgot
absolutely
about it
do.
too.
Yeah, sometimes we take life so seriously, and I think that's normal
Mhm.
because we're human and we really want to break out of our shells, right? And we really want to do a good job and we really want to do our best. But at the end of the day, if we're not having fun, I feel like the energy that we put into things, people can feel that, right? Because we're moving more towards that reality of feeling and intuition, and we feel each other's energy. And so that's one of the reasons why I say, hey, if you're passionate about something, you're going to have fun doing it, right? And not every day is going to be fun, right? But absolutely. I always ask my clients, like, what sounds fun to you? You know,
Mm. Yeah, that's a good question.
what feels fun to you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you learn a lot about yourself, who you are when you go into what's fun instead of who you should be according to society.
Yeah, I think that's so much of what the journey is about is breaking away from the thoughts or ideas that we actually create ourselves based on what we learn around us in order to try and define who we think we should be. And in reality, what we actually are is so much grander than that. You know, it's such an unfolding of self-discovery that it's so deep. You know, we're taught on a shallow level, but it's
Yeah.
so deep, it's so expansive. You know, when we raise in vibration, we go deeper within ourselves, and that is part of the learning for sure.
Hmm. So how did you get from uh like the law world, the corporate world, to creating a whole academy?
So, uh, you know, after I left the law world, my significant other, my partner in life, Robert, he had a couple martial arts schools, still do. We run them together essentially. But I I found that martial arts, specifically, I train in Kung Fu. It helped me understand so much about energy. And there's
Mm,
so many lessons that I went through with energy, but martial arts specifically taught me, you know, there's systems to things, but there's also flow to things. There is structure to things, but there's also flexibility in things. There is also some things that we need to learn before we can be flexible. And sometimes we can be flexible before we can add structure, right? So martial arts taught me that, and also the incremental steps of learning skills in the art taught me that sometimes some things should come before others. And, you know, there are no laws, there are no rules, but being in the art showed me with the academies, because we have two martial arts academies, showed me how I can step into a confident life within myself. And so what I've done is I've taken some of our structure from white belt to black belt that we take in the academy, and I've applied that to really becoming a black belt at life, right? Becoming a black belt in business and becoming a just a powerhouse to actually own your own power and be able to thrive in that space. So that said, that's where the academy part came, is because I want to teach people that yes, there are some incremental skills. There's a skill of business, there's a skill of marketing, there are some applications and implementations that you want to learn, but also there is that freedom of just birthing what we're meant to bring into creation through us. And we get to choose which parts of that apply. You know, there is not one size fits all marketing
mhm.
or business model. It's just, that's just not how it is. And maybe if it was that way in a previous reality, it certainly is not that way now. There's the way that's going to work for us individually. And that's exactly the same in the art, right? Like we can't teach someone who is, you know, 3 feet tall how to, you know, um, work with someone that's 7 feet tall and expect the same kind of, you know, result. So that said, the art really taught me a lot about energy work. Again, aside from much energy work training and experience that I've had otherwise, with my guides and such. And also the, you know, with law and the legal world is very systematic, right? And so we can see how building a system, like at the end of my career, the legal world was just like I could do it with my eyes closed, right? Like you do research and then you're like, okay, it almost gets kind of boring. And even though you're helping, I loved helping people. I still love helping people, and I love that aspect of the work. But the system was like, it ran itself, you know, and it was very teachable. So um, you could just hire someone, teach them the system, and then bam, you know, you're building basically a law firm at that point. And so I feel like my past experience, I have much more business experience. I did have my own private investigation agency, which led to like the research aspect of what I do when it comes to marketing and business. But you know that, like I said, the systems, the structures that can make our business thrive are necessary so that we can put some things on autopilot, so that we can know when to look at our quarterly goals and what goal setting does for us, you know, and then there's that flexibility of being who we are and stepping into our purpose and into our power, also with the structure of skill building, right? So I hope that answers your question, but really just having so much business experience and a little dabble in this and a little dabble in that, like it looks very chaotic when we're going through it. But then we step to the other side and it's like, wow, everything that I learned is coming into this beautiful, um, it's coming together to create something. And it is coming through me, just like it does all of us.
I love that. So it's like by following your intuition and your own alignment, it created this, like every little thing became this. And it's fun. It's something that I love, that we don't know where necessarily where we're going exactly when we follow our intuition. And you have to take the steps, and then after a while you realize, oh, this brought me here into this new opportunity that maybe I wouldn't have thought of, like if I had tried to plan it.
Yeah. And you know, the ego loves planning, and sometimes our intuition will tell us, hey, plan this, right? And that's where we get kind of hung up because it's like, well, I'm supposed to be planning my intuition, not planning. But sometimes my intuition will say, hey, look at the big picture for today and see what you can come up with. And then tomorrow it'll say, look at the details. But yeah, I tell my clients, you know you're on the right path when you have no idea where you're going. Like that's how you know you've initiated your soul path into soulpreneurship, which is a calling, a purpose that's greater than all of us.
Hmm. Yeah. And you mentioned, like, the title of your talk is the three-step freedom roadmap. So what are the three steps?
Yeah, so I'll go. I know that I could talk about this forever. So I'll briefly go over each step. So the one misconception that I see a lot of my students have is that we have to know so much before we can get started. They're like, I want to
Mhm.
find a niche. You know, I've been told in marketing that I need to find a niche, and I just can't choose. And you know, they'll be swirling around in that energy of not deciding because they feel like they are like picking a niche that they have to do for the rest of their lives, especially when so many of us are multi-passionate these days. Like we have a lot of different energies that we're always working with. And so my number one step that I want to encourage everybody to do, especially if you're listening to this, is to just start. Look at your life experience. Look at what you do know. Look at what you're passionate about and pick something because no matter what you pick right now, you're going to end up in your life's work. And so, in marketing terms, when we talk about choosing your niche and whatnot, it's really just a starting point, and it's going to most likely shift and turn and change. But the steps that you take, it's really just activating your journey. So for me, I went through probably 6 or 7 different niches before I landed where I'm at right now. And I didn't realize that every single one of those points and niches were very intricate into teaching me what I know now and what I can teach now. So even though in the big picture, I was like, this is what I'm going to be doing forever. I'm going to teach yoga forever, you know? And then I was like, oh, I'm not. I was just learning more energy work at that point. So we don't actually have to learn anything else right now to get started. So I always tell people, like, look at, like I said, look at your life experience, look at what you're passionate at, look at what you love to do, and then ask yourself if you could offer one thing right now, if you would love to offer one thing, one expression of yourself, what would that be? And just start right there because the swirling around, the waiting, the analysis paralysis or the waiting to start, all that's doing is using time that you could be actually learning and walking the journey because with the waiting just stalls the journey. And it is a journey. That's why I call it a business journey, right? So it's an activation point when you just choose an area to start and then create what I call in the marketing world, they'll say, find a problem and solve it. So, absolutely, you can do that. but in this new reality, this more 5D energy world that we're in, it's going to sometimes look more like an experience that you're offering people. Maybe it's a product, maybe it's a program, maybe it's a result that you're helping people get to, maybe it's an outcome, maybe it's an exploration or a healing. There are so many different options. And that's why when we look within and we say, what is it that I want to really bring into society and in a way that I can express myself? What would I love to do? Start right there. And
Hmm.
as soon as you do, as soon as you make that decision, the journey begins to unfold. And then you won't really see where you're going anymore. And that's the mystery and the creativity aspect of it, part of the creativity aspect of it. So that's step one is to just make a
Yeah.
choice and get started.
Yeah.
Step one, I call it start. Start now.
Hmm. I guess the hard part is to trust, to just do it and trust.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's probably one of the things that took me the longest was to know
Mm.
that there is divine orchestration and that self-doubt wasn't helping me. And
Yeah.
we're going to doubt ourselves. We're going to question whether or not we believe in ourselves. But we can still take action and move forward regardless of all of those
Mhm.
feelings, right? We could still pave our way even when self-doubt comes up. But there was a
Yeah.
point where I decided like self-doubt, it doesn't need to come with me anymore because it's not helping, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're just, as long as you're self-doubt all the time, you're just not moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is that when we talk about trusting, we can trust the universe, but really it comes down to trusting ourselves that we know what we're here to do. And we do. It's not conscious, obviously, all the time, but for some of us it is. But trusting ourselves that we know exactly what is going to unfold and just allowing it. I feel like it's more of an allowing it to come into creation and come through us. And
Mhm.
whenever fear pops up, that's just the ego. Whenever the self-doubt comes up, it's just the ego. So there is something so much more powerful coming through us that, yeah, trust and just sticking to the path, staying on the journey is all you have to do at the end of the day and the beginning of the day and the middle of the day.
Yeah. So what's the next step
Yep.
after?
So the next step is to, once you decide what it is that you want to do, and most people have probably already been helping people, and the choice that they make, if they're like, I'm going to help people, um, like for me, I want to help people with marketing and building their business. I had already had a lot of experience in that and I was pretty blind. I didn't see that that's kind of the path that I would be stepping on because it was just something that I did. So most of us will have already been offering this. But if not, that's okay. You don't have to have any experience because the next step is to serve. So the first step is to just start, choose. The second step is to serve because as you serve people, you're basically just beta testing what you're doing, right? You're getting feedback from humanity. You're opening up the feedback loop, and that is something that never ends. So many people think, "Oh, I have this perfect product. I can put it on the market now." And in fact, we're all evolving so quickly, we're all expanding so quickly that anything that we create most likely is going to continue to evolve, especially if it's a digital product or if we're teachers or if we're coaches or if, whatever it is that we're creating. That's the joy of creating. Like we are the God of what we create, right? So it's going to be growing and expanding. So just get out there and serve. Don't wait because the faster you get out there and you offer people what it is that you decided to offer, again, it grows up like a child. You birth it, you decide, you bring it into creation, and then it grows up. So the other problem that I see people doing is waiting until it's perfect, waiting until it's a certain point. It's like, no, just have an idea and beta test it, right? And then you'll get the feedback and you're going to learn from your experience. And again, it's the soulpreneur journey, right? So if you don't start, you're just wasting time. So you really just want to serve as many people as possible. The more people you serve, the better you get at it. And then just the more you learn about yourself and the people you're serving.
So would you say to start serving, whether it's for free or paying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I know I started for free. A lot of people feel comfortable doing that. So it's going to be whatever you feel comfortable doing. If because that's listening to yourself too. So a lot of people are taught in marketing, like create it, beta test it, charge half of your high ticket price, whatever, $5,000. And people are like, I don't want to do that. So don't, right? Listen to yourself because your guidance and your intuition, like, as you say, is guiding you. It's leading you towards it. So you're going to feel most comfortable, or if you feel most comfortable not charging, absolutely do it without charging. Put a price tag on it the next time, get two more clients and raise your price, get two more clients and raise your price. Whatever you feel comfortable doing is key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So once they have done that, they have started serving, like how long should they serve before the next step? And what is the next step?
So you can do so once you just make a choice how you want to express yourself, and then you can just start serving, like today, like right now, just call up a friend and say, hey, I want to beta test this. Will you sit in my program or whatever it is you decide to experience? And the next step, step three, it's just continuing the journey. And step three, I call it skill and learning, really, because the skill of marketing, marketing has evolved since 10 years ago. There's a lot of outdated stuff out there on the internet, and a lot of marketers are kind of teaching outdated stuff, right? And they're not really teaching that marketing and business is a practice, like medicine is a practice. And what we're doing is we're learning what marketing is for us and what a business model is for us, because the soulpreneur journey, when you're allowing something to come through you, your business model is going to be specific to you, and you have to create that and learn what that is as you go. And the misconception that a lot of people have is, well, I'm going to figure out all this stuff and then I'm going to have a business. But that's not the way this new reality works. The way this new reality works is we learn as we go. And the business model that is born through you is going to work specifically for you, because otherwise you're going to be trying to adopt somebody else's practices that may not serve you and may end up leading you into feeling like you have another job that you just don't like, right? And we want to
Mhm.
avoid that. What we want is for you to build the skill in marketing, build the skill in building your business, and application and implementation as you go, so that you are 100% happy with what you have, because you're a creator, right? So it's like painting. You don't have to apply any other techniques that you learn from anybody else. It's your baby, it's your child, you're birthing it. And so, step three, I call it skill and system building, because along with the learning, you want your own system that's helping you scale if you want to, but you don't have to, right? But it has to work specifically for you. So, step one is to start, pick something right now, just write it down. Step two, you can do this in the same 5 minutes, test it out, call a friend, get them on your calendar, get them in a coaching session, whatever it is that you want to offer. You know, serve as many people as you can for free or charge them. Doesn't matter, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just make sure that you're learning as you go, obviously, because it's expanding and it's teaching you. The feedback loop that we have with humanity is going to be teaching us. And you will find through that as long as you love what you're creating, it will serve other people. And it's going to, anyways. But you want to be happy with what you're creating, and learn from the feedback loop in a positive way. And then step three, continue the journey, which is learning the skill and the practice of business and building your systems that work for you in your life. Because, like I said, implementing someone else's system, even though bits and pieces of stuff can work, right? I know that I've learned certain things from other people, and I'm like, yeah, I want that. I want this. This is a great solution for me here. I've actually learned entire marketing processes that taught me the entire process. And then I laid my own foundation on top of that and did away with all the details, right? So it really is just learning. It's that education, application, and implementation. And we're doing all of this stuff at the same time, right? And then, worst case scenario, you'll have a niche, you'll know how to serve people, you'll know how to build a system, you'll change your niche, you'll know how to market yourself. You could change your niche 10 times at that point, and then you know how to market your products and your programs and your services, repeat multiple streams of income, right? That's how you build.
Mm. Yeah, I like that you mentioned that you have multiple businesses because I know I'm a multi-passionate too, and the idea of choosing one niche for years, I was like, but I have so many ideas, I want to do so many things. And I love that you're teaching others how to build something that works for you. Like even if you learn systems and but you have to figure out what works for yourself. So like you said, you can have multiple niches or multiple businesses. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's what is
absolutely.
taught in the marketing world.
Yeah, and again, you absolutely can have multiple at the same time. It's just that people feel trapped like they're put into a box, when they have to choose. But really the only reason I say to choose is so that you can learn how to market and how you can because it's like baking, right? If you don't have a recipe, you don't even really ever turn on the stove, right? But once you have a recipe, you can turn on the stove, you can learn a lot of the basics, and then you can make as many recipes as you want. It's very similar to that. You don't have to just cook banana bread for the rest of your life, right? You can go into sourdough and then you can go into learning all of the different techniques and homemade pizza and
Mhm.
cookies and all that stuff. But without that first recipe, it's a little bit challenging to understand what tools you even need. Do you need a mixing bowl? Do you need a mixer? Do you need what kind of oven? Do you need a cookie sheet? Like, so it's really understanding what tools are going to assist you and, among other things along the journey. But again, you just have to start it and then absolutely you can have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. It honestly it when you're doing what you love, even if you're multi-passionate or there's just one thing that you want to do, it life is so peaceful and freeing and it's not hard. It's effortless. Like we're going to have challenges, right? But it's effortless and it's easy and it's simple and you can have 10 different businesses and that's just how it feels.
That's awesome. I want that too.
Yes,
That's why we're
absolutely. Yeah, most
so
people do.
yeah, so like if you want to create multiple things, you at least have to start with focusing on one thing at a time, I guess. So that
Yeah.
this because I tend to also go over to shiny objects and never finish one thing, or never progress enough in one thing. So like how do you balance that?
So the thing about so multi-passionate people, it's okay to work on two things at once, but you kind of have to be aware as where you're at. So I love to paint. I also love to um build businesses, right? So, I mean, I can't even finish a list of all the things that I love to do right now. I'd go on for like 30 minutes, but you have to know your energy system. So when I'm done building out a calendar and a plan for the academy, and if my energy system says shift to something else, I'll just go start doing something else. But I go back to where I left off with the academy, right? Um,
Mhm.
and that's a little bit different than shiny object syndrome because what I find when people have like the shiny object syndrome is two things. One, when we create, we are pulling energy down into our chakra system, and sometimes the energy doesn't make it through our heart chakra down into our solar plexus chakra, all the way down into the root chakra, where we are grounding our creations, right? So sometimes there's an energetic block, or it doesn't align. So that's one part of shiny object syndrome. Another part is that we tend to not tune into our guidance when we should, right?
Mm.
With shiny object syndrome, we might jump onto the newness of a feeling. But if we can sit with ourselves and reflect and find out what is actually activating that almost jump, right? Then we'll see that our guidance is actually trying to steer us. We're just not interpreting or we're just not translating that message as clearly as possible. But so yeah, it's okay to work on multiple things at once, but you have to be aware of if you're abandoning something for something else, if you're not finishing something because you've never finished something in your life, right? But it's doable to have so many things going at once um and love every moment of it and actually finish projects, right? I think a lot of people, that's why they don't finish projects is because the chakra system, they have to develop that
Mm.
open flow all the way down through the root chakra in order to finish something. That's what I see commonly with that.
Well, I love hearing you say that it is possible to have multiple passion and do multiple things at the same time because I'm like that and we're being told the opposite that you have to specialize, that you have to like be focused on one thing at a time and sometimes it feels restrictive. So it's nice to hear that. I feel hope.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that as you are on this journey and you're learning about yourself and you're learning what you love and you learn what you're passionate about and you do finish things and you maybe switch from one niche to another. Like I said, we aren't actually looking for a niche. What we're looking for is our life's work. That's what every single one of us is looking for. That's what we want. We want that one thing that we can build, or that we can love, that we can nourish, that lights us up, that's serving other people, that's filling our heart, that's giving us purpose and fulfillment and meaning. That's what we're all looking for. And that journey, no matter where you start, no matter what niche you choose, it may take you to that. You may practice one niche for a day, a month, a year, and then you may switch to something else. But no matter where you start, you're going to end up at your life's work, and that could be one thing, that could be 10 things, that could be having 15 different businesses. It really just depends on what lights you up, because it could be real estate. You could have 30 different properties, or it could be like us having 5 to 7 different businesses. Um, and strangely, what I'm noticing now is for myself, how the system building that I did in the legal world, how imperative that is at the academy, because it keeps people on track. It keeps people accountable, right? Like when I can say, what
Mm.
are your goals? What does your month look like? What's your goals for next month? What are your goals for the year? When we can actually ground our energy and ground what we're bringing into creation, um, that's how we create things. So yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. I do just say start with one thing. If you want to juggle two things, that's fine. But you just want to learn. The reason why I say to start with one thing, even though you're going to be able to have many in your own freedom and expansiveness, is to just learn marketing. You can't, like I said, you can't really learn how to bake a cake if you never get to the instruction part of turning on the oven. It just makes it really hard, because you need to be able to apply marketing to the actual niche that you decided, right? And then switch as much as you want. But once you learn marketing, you don't unlearn it, right? And it's a little
Mhm.
different for every business. And then you just go from like being green and not knowing anything about marketing to knowing exactly what you need to know about marketing, listening to your guidance and learning what you need to learn while you're following that intuition or guidance, whatnot you want to call it. Um, and yeah, and bringing anything and everything into creation. I think we're here to create as much as we can, as much as we want, and so many more people these days are multi-passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of those.
Yeah, and the other thing too with marketing, it's really articulating what we're doing, right, and expressing ourselves
Mhm.
and putting it into a language that the collective that we're meant to serve can understand. And
Yeah.
we can't really do that if we're doing 10 things, right? if we're marketing 10 things at once, people just get confused. And it's different. It's different. It's a little bit different in the physical 3D, like, or maybe not physical 3D. It's much different in this space of like a brick and mortar versus online, because online people are getting energy thrown at them all the time, right? And so that's why it's important. If you're marketing online, choose what it is that you want to do so that people can actually understand what it is that you're
Yeah.
offering without
Hmm.
confusion, right?
Hmm.
And then once you do that, you can say, here's everything else that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you were to leave our listeners today with one single action that they can do after watching this video, what would it be?
I'm going to say, take out a piece of paper and write down three things that you would love to offer humanity. Three things that light you up when you think about it, that you would love to be paid for. And then choose one, just choose one, and just start serving people. Find people to serve. You know, it could be your best friend, it could be acquaintances, it could be random people on the internet. That's how I started, just meeting people online and saying, hey, I have this class I want to teach for free. Do you want to learn? And some of those people to this day, years later, are still my clients. So,
Nice.
you know, and they've been with me from the beginning and they've watched me grow and I've watched them grow. Right. And so you trust the process, but get started. Choose one
Yeah.
thing and just allow it to flow, be flexible, and let it be fun.
Hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun. Well, thank you so much. That was really enlightening. Um, Before we wrap up, you have a free gift that you want to share with our audience?
Yes, actually, I do. I have a so the Soulpreneur Prosperity Academy has a global community that we gather most Wednesdays, and it's 100% free. You can go to www.loraperry.com and join the community. The meetings are an hour long. You get access to the recordings as well. They generally entail a lesson, Q&A about the lesson, and then meet and greet so that people can meet new people, right? That's one of the things that I love to offer is, you know, we could teach, we can serve, but I really love bringing people together too. So it's my own way of doing what I love, which is watching friendships develop and soul tribe connect and actually creating that space for people to meet um, people that they're meant to meet. So, and friendships, like I said, it's just been an amazing thing. So you can join that community on my website and yeah, join us. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. I'll have to join too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, check it out.
the link will be below the video to join the community. So make sure you join. And so thank you so much for joining us in this powerful conversation. There's so much more inspiration, insight, and practical guidance coming up. So be sure to keep watching to continue unlocking your own spiritual journey.
Thank
So
you, Anne
thank you so
Marie.
much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Awesome.